Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Ultra Squad, and today we're here with actually over issei. What if issei had actually got key? Like I said again, you guys really like the series, so I'm gonna actually make more of this. Now I won't make it like the same way as what if issei had Ultra Instinct. I'm not gonna give that a bad ending like that, but still, I'm gonna try to make the what if as interesting as I can, of course, and entertaining. But I won't make it too long because I have other what if I really want to actually do. So without further ado, let's get right into this story. Sirzex will actually look towards Issei and he will ask, "What is his name?" Issei will say, like, that's actually quite stupid of actually asking him that because he knows Sona and Reyes told him about his name, of course. So pretty much you don't need to actually play actually good cop, bad cop. He actually knows actually how this really works. As Sirzex actually says to Issei, if he was the one who actually attacked Razor and actually Grafia, Issei would say like, "Oh, them? Nah, 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 nah. He doesn't remember." But he actually says like the other day that he pretty much actually went to the club room. He pretty much actually demolished actually Razor's garage and things like that, and also hit actually his wife Grafia. Issei would say like, "Oh, your wife, Grace. Oh, now I remember now. Yes, I truly remember that. Yeah, your wife is pretty much weak. She couldn't even take a simple love tap." Now, Sandrex will actually get so mad and start to release that the energy. But Issei says like this was actually a waste of his time. So Issei started to get up and he started to leave. Now, immediately a magic circle will be placed under Issei, making him unable for him to move. Ajuka will say that they're going to bring Issei to the underworld for actually investigation, of course, for questioning. But as they're preparing to leave, Akuno would immediately get in between, saying to actually Ajuka that is actually unwise for actually him to actually do that to Issei. Issei didn't do anything wrong. Merely they actually shouldn't do anything that can actually piss off actually Issei. She knows what Issei can do. And with this, Cersei actually looked towards Akuno and actually asked Akuno what's his relationship between actually him and Issei. Now Reese also wanted to know, and he actually asked Akuno if Issei would blackmail her in any kind of way. With this, Akuno kept silent and she didn't say anything. As with this, Cersei looked towards Issei and asked, "So, you're pretty much blackmailing actually my sisters actually like pieces, of course." But Issei will actually start chuckling. He'll start chuckling, he'll start clapping his hands slowly, and he actually kind of like told Cersei this. He says to Cersei that pretty much pathetic and stupid he really was, thinking actually how these seals are able to, thinking that they are able to actually hold him down, and for him thinking that he's blackmailing Akuno. He immediately told Akuno to keep his actually, like, secret a secret. He doesn't want anybody to know besides from Akuno. She is the only person that he actually trusts. So with this, Issei will break the seal under him, surprising Ajuka. Now, Issei will say, like, seeing that you actually attack first, it's actually time for me to teach you a very harsh punishment. Issei will have a grin on his face, while Ajuka immediately, and the rest of the people there got into a fighting stance besides from Akuno, as Ajuka will actually make a magic circle and place a barrier around Issei and preparing to teleport him to the same place where he actually kind of did to Loki. Now Issei will smirk and he will actually control Ajuka's circle, making himself and the Devil Kings teleport along with him. Now, once they reach the place where Loki actually really was, now Ijuka will be surprised that Issei actually just like pretty much controlled his actual magic circle without him even knowing, of course, as immediately Issei would charge towards Ajuka. He would pretty much grab Ajuka's face and slam him towards the ground. He would press on Ajuka's face with just his foot, and he actually kind of actually told Ajuka how pretty much foolish he really was, of course, for him actually making the first move to strike on him. Now, immediately the four, or kind of like three of them, Gracia, Serafal, and actually Zerzek were charged towards Issei, but Issei just took the actually attack head on. They threw attacks and attacks over and over and over again to Issei, but to no avail. Now Issei would immediately just kick all of them away, and Ajuka took the opportunity to actually get off of Issei, of course, by actually throwing actually a magic attack blinding his eyes. But Issei didn't really actually flinch at all, but he did release actually a small bit of pressure on Ajuka, which Ajuka got free. Now, immediately all four of them started to attack Issei, but no matter what they did, they couldn't actually touch Issei. Issei was too fast, of course, for them to actually hit. Issei would just keeps on dodging all the attacks. They were mainly actually just children trying to actually hit actually grown actually fast man. A grown fast man. So Issei was actually saying how pathetic this really was, and immediately he released his god key, sending pressure wave and actually pretty much sending actually the four of them flying backwards and also paralyzed. Now Issei would immediately go kick all of them in the stomach, punching them all over the place, grabbing Zerzek on by his face, slamming his face against with Ajuka before actually appearing behind actually Serafal, kicking him toward the mountain, and with this, Greyface would charge towards Issei. Issei would actually go make himself a Kiso before stabbing actually Greyface in the chest. Now I'm sorry for all you Greyface lovers, man. I know I'm doing Greyface so dirty, of course. So my actually apologies, guys. So yeah, I don't really hate Greyface. I just want to make the story so much interesting. So Zerzek gets up and he will see his wife impaled by actually Issei's keyblade, of course. He will immediately lose it. He will go berserk and he will transform into his actually final form, his destruction form, full power, shaking the entire underworld and also the fallen angels actually territory too. Now we go on to Azazel, where he was working on his sacred gear and he felt Zerzek's power, and he wondered who was strong enough to actually make Zerzek use this kind of power of his. Now we go to the fight where Issei will grab Greyface by the face before throwing her towards the ground and saying how interesting, of course. So this is your full power. Now Zerzek wasted no time. He flew towards Issei. Everything around him was being destroyed, of course. As immediately he tried to actually punch Issei, but Issei dodged the Zerzek strike, and he did it again, but Issei kept on dodging. It's kind of like Goku, in his Super Saiyan 3 versus actually Beerus the first time they met. So yeah, Zerzek will actually try get a surprise jump on Issei, teleporting behind him, but Issei will actually grab Zerzek's fist that was actually striking, well, he was about to strike him back, before he would slam him towards the ground. Now Zerzek will get up, but Issei will appear right in front of Zerzek before flicking him away to a mountain. Now Zerzek will get back up before flying towards Issei, throwing fast punches again, and also throwing destruction at him before Issei will actually jump on actually Zerzek's actually fist, flying actually behind him. Zerzek will deliver actually a destruction blast, completely destroying actually the back, behind him where Issei really was. Now, once the dust cloud settled, he will see Issei that was not there, but immediately Issei would actually appear behind Zerzek by placing his right hand on his shoulder before Zerzek would collapse on the ground, de-transforming out of his full power, and he was just knocked out. Now, Ajuka seeing this, seeing his rival and his friend got defeated and knocked out, he would go full power himself. But the same thing happened to Zerzek again. He completely demolished all of them, including Serafal and even Greyface. They were all on the floor. Now, out of nowhere, magic circles started to form all over the place as all the devils, not really all the devils, but the devil armies, as they would see the actually devil kings on the ground, defeated, of course, and they would just see Issei just brushing the dust off him, as they would just say you bastard, you will pay for what you've done, as they would actually go on a full out assault on Issei. But Issei saying like how pathetic they really all were before Issei just completely raised a red actually ball of ki before firing it, completely incinerated half of their forces, of course. The rest of them were actually afraid that it only took one blast for them to be completely annihilated. Now Issei would actually appear in front of the first guy who was actually so-called leading the actually army before Issei would say like, how pretty much nice, but it's actually unwise for you to actually attack the Red Dragon Emperor. Their eyes will widen before Issei will Hakai them from resistance, of course. Now, Cersei will wake up and he will actually see the destruction around of him. He will see actually the devil army completely destroyed, most of them dead, of course. And Cersei will look towards Issei and ask, what did you do? Immediately getting so mad, he would prepare to use his power again, but he couldn't. But Issei would appear in front of Cersei and he would say like, it's your fault of course that they are dead. Before Issei would place actually two fingers, or kind of one finger on Cersei's forehead, completely knocking him out again. Now Issei would sigh, he would say like how pathetic this fight really was before teleporting himself to the orc. Now, Sona and Wraith were basically kind of like, not really worried of course, because they actually kind of felt confident that they were able to take on Issei and things like that, but they would just see Issei and he teleported himself to the orc room and he pretty much started to walk out the exit. As Sona and Wraith asked, what did you do? How did you get back here? What did you do to our siblings? As Issei was looked behind him and he would just say like, they're taking a nap, a very long nap. Their eyes will widen as they would just leave Issei walking out of the room, of course. Now we pretty much time skipped to about 2 days as Issei was actually just merely outside enjoying actually his time out, just sitting on actually the park bench, just enjoying life. He just wanted a peaceful, quiet life, but nobody would give him that, aside from Arkano, of course. But still, this is a time that Issei loved to enjoy. As pretty much he will actually, somebody beside Issei will actually kind of decide to speak, saying that how it was a nice day. Issei will walk to his left to see it was actually Azazel sitting there. Now, Azazel will look towards Issei and ask if he actually minds sitting next to him. But Issei will say like, no, not at all, Azazel. So what's the leader of the fallen angels doing here? Azazel will be surprised that Issei knew who he really was, and he actually kind of said like he just wanted actually a break from work. And Issei would say like, well, enjoy actually my hometown, of course. If you're not gonna here to cause trouble, then pretty much you know actually threat to me. Azazel would say like he's not here to fight Issei, but yet he's actually here to thank Issei. Issei will widen his eyes. He would say like, wait, thank him for what? As Azazel would actually explain to Issei how he wanted to actually kill like Kokobil because he wanted to start the whole Holy Great War again, but he couldn't bring himself to do it, so he actually asked for actually like the White Dragon Emperor and actually Tiamat to actually capture Kokobil so they can steal him away. But Issei bets them to it and completely kill Kokobil. And pretty much the fallen angels are in his death, so he doesn't need to worry about the fallen angels coming after him. As Issei would say like, yeah, it's no actually problem of course, just like he doesn't actually care for this whole thing. Unless they're not bothering him or even trying to actually ruin his actually peaceful, quiet life, then they're actually all good actually in his book. But that was actually not all. Azazel asked Issei if he was actually willing to come to the peace treaty actually that they were having in just a few days to actually testify what really happened against Kokobil. Issei said that he doesn't really want to go because like heck, he doesn't want to get roped in with all this drama. He just wants to live his nice, quiet life. But Azazel kind of pleaded to Issei that it was only just that and that was pretty much it. Issei, knowing that Azazel is a nice guy, he would just say like, yeah, sure, he will come to the peace treaty. As with this, we'll fast forward all the way to the peace treaty arc. There, we'll just see actually like the faction people there, and you'll just see Cersei and Seraphon with kind of bruises on their faces. They kind of look like they've been through hell. But nobody acts. But Michael would appear and Azazel would actually Valane and Tiamat too there. and they were actually asked if they can start the meeting. But Azazel told them that he was waiting for one more person. With this, Issa would teleport himself in the room, no magic circle, and he would just say to Azazel sorry that he's actually late. Now Sir Vex and Telfor actually pale seeing Issa here and Reyes asks what was he doing here. And Azazel told him to calm down. He asked Issa to come here just to testify what really happened on the battlefield. Now, Issa will actually take a seat right next to Azazel, of course, and he will actually ask if they're actually ready to actually start this. Now, most half of the people there was scared, like would be shaking, like nodding their head, of course, as pretty much the whole peace treaty will go normally as planned, of course, as they were actually asked about actually this whole peace thing, and like Azazel, if he has anything to do with this. Azazel said no, he has nothing to do with Kokobel, but heck, Kokobel is now dead thanks to Issei, so yeah, you can actually have him to thank for actually all this. Now, immediately, time will actually stop, as everybody will be frozen in this one place where they actually were. Now, they will actually know that it was Gasper, this whole thing, and like Gasper, as pretty much the Chaos Brigade started to actually evade the whole school. Now, Issei, he was not pretty much bothered by this. That he actually just let actually like Kiba and Zenobia take care or kind of like rescue Gasper, while actually Valane and Timon actually wanted to actually take care of actually the Chaos Brigade army, of course. Now, Azazel asks if Issei wants to actually help them in this little thing, but Issei says like, nah, not really. Pretty much, it's not really his style. I mean, they can pretty much handle it. I mean, like heck, it doesn't really bother him that much. But Azazel whispers something in Issei's ear, and immediately he says like, oh shit, yeah. So he decided to go ahead and actually help them actually out. Now, once Issei made his way towards the battlefield, of course, he would see Valane and Team Lot did most of the work there, as pretty much Catherine would actually make herself known, and pretty much she would actually start to go on her little debate and ramble about how pretty much she deserves to be actually the descendant of actually Leviathan, yada yada this, yada yada that. Starts to actually attack actually like some of the devils there. And Issei was thinking like, oh Jesus Christ, who is this girl? So he decided to actually face off against her. Now once Catherine sees Issei, she asks who is he? As Issei will say like, he's just pretty much of a dragon, of course. And she's saying, and with this Catherine will actually say to Issei that he really thinks that he can actually take her actually on. While she will launch actually her magic towards Issei, but Issei took the attack head on, like without even flinching, of course. As Catherine was surprised and she launched her magic over and over again. But it happens, like the same thing will happen again. It doesn't affect Issei. Issei will say like how pretty much actually annoying she is, that she deserves to be actually punished. Issei will actually like appear behind her before bending her over and slapping her actually her butt. This is what bears would do to actually Gotenks. This is what Issei is actually doing to Catherine. He basically will actually slapping Catherine's butt, saying like bad, before Catherine was just telling Issei to stop. That pretty much it hurts and to pretty much let her go. With this, Issei will drop Catherine to the ground, and with this, she couldn't move her body. Everybody there would actually start to actually kind of like, well, kind of like the girls there will actually kind of like blush a little. How pretty much forward Issei can be, as pretty much like heck, since that Catherine had been actually defeated and so we are on, we pretty much have actually like what Valane like pretty much actually like attacking like Azazel, telling that plan how she pretty much actually wants to join the other side of actually like the Chaos Brigade and yada yada this, yada yada that, and heck, but also Team Up there too. Now, they'll be surprised to know that Valane is actually descendant of actually Lucifer and things like that. So she pretty much will actually ask Issei to fight her. Now, she doesn't actually know Issei is actually the Red Dragon Emperor, yada yada this, so yeah. But she will actually ask him to join them for the last time. But Issei would actually kind of like agree with this. Yeah, sure. He will actually kind of like agree to actually fight them. Not to join them, but he will actually fight them. He wanted to see how powerful they really were. So with this, you actually fight actually Verlaine and actually Tiamat at the same time. And now, no matter what they actually do, the same thing will happen. They could not actually touch Issei. Issei was too fast and he was too strong. No matter what they actually do, no matter how much Verlaine divines Issei's strength, he always has more. She couldn't get Issei down to actually his weakest state. Not at all. Even Timo was even having trouble to even fighting Issei, blocking most of her attacks, and also her kind of like blue actually fire attack, of course. But it got to a point where Issei released his god key. Issei released his god key a little bit. This was only about 2%, of course, as this will actually paralyze everybody there in the whole actually school, as this actually 2% of power Issei was releasing would actually be felt by most people in the whole underworld, or like kind of like the whole supernatural world, of course. As the gods, they will be able to feel this actually divine energy from Issei, as pretty much somebody else be able to sense it. Somebody that was actually sealed, of course, will be able to sense it. As this person would say, like, this power is so immense, I need it. I, Trexia, once I'm free, will have that actually power to myself. As we go on to the battlefield now, Issei will actually start releasing his actually 2% of his power, as this will frighten Tiamat and Verlaine there. With this, Issei actually kind of like, swiftly actually just knocks them actually down, out off their feet, completely knocking them out. Once they actually woke up, they were actually just see that they were actually not really tied up, but they were on the ground, of course. But they were actually not in the same place that they were. They were actually at Issei's house, and they pretty much asked what were they doing here. But he actually gave them actually an offer. He told them how pretty much they don't want to join the Chaos Brigade, that this was merely all a ruse. They really want to join the Chaos Brigade to act for one thing only, to kill someone. Verlaine would say like, yes, that's the whole reason why she joined the Chaos Brigade. She wanted to kill her actually grandfather, who killed her actually mother. So Issei was offered them something to pretty much don't join the Chaos Brigade and things like that, but if they work for him, he would give Verlaine what she wants. She would give actually Verlaine the opportunity to kill her grandfather with her own hands. So, but this Tiamat actually asks, how would that be possible? Like, this Visor Beam was actually stronger, or probably on the level of Sir X. Which Issei would say like, yeah, this is the reason why she should actually join actually him. That she would give her the power that she needs to actually kill Razor Beam. Because Issei respects Verlaine. She's gone through all this thing to kill her evil grandfather that actually killed actually her actually mother. Now, Issei respects someone if you use power for actually vengeance, right? It doesn't sit well for him, but if you want power to actually get revenge for your fallen family or something like that, or pretty much to avenge your mother, then Issei is willing to help. He loves when people uses their power for something good, and since the Razor Beam is evil, he doesn't even mind, of course. So with this, we pretty much have a time skip all the way to where this is where actually like they go to the underworld to train, of course, but it's gonna be different actually here. Now, once Issei actually goes to the underworld, where actually Azazel is actually there, he's actually meets Tani, and Tani actually is introduced to Issei, and they pretty much get along. Issei doesn't reveal who he really is in front of actually Azazel, so once Tani and Issei is alone, he introduces himself as the Red Dragon Emperor. Now Tani was surprised that Issei is actually the host of his best friend Dreg, of course, and Issei told Tani that pretty much he is the dragon god, of course, that he has got actually powers, and he's been trained by actually Orpheus and Great Red. Now Tani was surprised by this, that pretty much Issei is a dragon god. Now Issei told Tani that he wants his help training someone. Not Verlaine, of course, but he needs help training Sergeant. But guys, I'm going to be ending the what if actually here. I know it's not really that interesting, of course, but still, the next part is actually going to be actually Issei's training actually session. But without further ado, I'm Ultra Anime. I'm logging out. Peace.